Good evening, class. Mr. Long again. Just kind of going over the assignments for this week. Before we get going, one obviously last week we find out that we're not going to be returning to the classroom this year. Obviously that's going to impact some of the things we can and cannot do within the course of Law and Society. But as we go through this year, it's also kind of bittersweet. I know, seniors, just that aspect of coming back into the classroom and doing those different things with that. So I commend you for continuing to get stuff done, continuing to plug through the end of the year here. And, want to just encourage you to keep getting that stuff done, keep getting the stuff turned in through the end of the year. It's been also great going on to, Twitter and that, seeing Miss Shaw's post with some of you as far as your plans for next year, what you're going to be doing, and that kind of stuff. Just getting those updates. But hopefully everything works itself out as we move forward here. But obviously that kind of changes our mindset, what we can and cannot do these last few weeks as far as class goes as well. Okay, so with this week here, you're going to have the one assignment, and you see there Supreme Court cases, case studies number one. Okay, and all this is basically three cases. So the first one, you look here, Miranda versus Arizona. So we look at that case there. It gives you kind of the background, the story of the case. It gives you the constitutional issue, which is basically talking about kind of the legality aspect, and then it gives you the Supreme Court decision. What did the Supreme Court decide after hearing the case? What was their final conclusion? And then finally, it gives you the dissenting opinion. And the dissenting opinion is basically the opinion of the judges who voted against the majority, kind of why they voted against the rest of the Supreme Court and their beliefs and ideas behind that. Okay, so you have all those. And at the very end, you've got five analysis questions that kind of go along with the crime and everything else involved there. Okay, so you got Miranda versus Arizona. Then you've got Mapp versus Ohio. So same thing. There's your background. You see the constitutional issue, Supreme Court decision, and then the dissenting opinion and your questions. And then the third case and final case you want to do for the week, Escobedo versus Illinois. And again, same situation there, setup wise, and everything with that one there. And these cases all kind of tie into the last unit we did with the criminal justice process there. Okay, so this week, those three Supreme Court cases, read about the case, answer the analysis questions that go with them, and then we'll kind of conclude with the Supreme Court cases as we move into next week. So, as always, many of you have been self-sufficient, doing pretty well with things. Get things turned in. You got a few hours to get to this week's assignments in. But again, if you have questions or need anything, you know where I'm at. Just give me a holler. So, other than that, we're going to sign off here, and we'll see you next week.